There are more options, so it's harder for an artist to maintain now.
Right.
There's more artists coming out.
Right.
There's more noise.
Right.
It's harder to promote.
Right.
It's harder to get people's attention.
Right.
It's harder to keep people's attention.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So what Drake has done, like you could throw in The Weather Was Bad on a Tuesday when a Michael Jackson album came out and people stormed out in the snow and stood in line. We can talk about that. But also, Drake is doing it at a time where there's a lot more competition than Mike had. All right, man, it's a Rap Life Review, Low and Nadeska. My name's Ebro. You know them on that side of the couch.
Right.
And we are here this week to talk about what's going on in hip-hop. Westside Gunn, phenomenal album, sir. Phenomenal project. Shout out to Westside Gunn. Also, Offset, an amazing project as well.
Yeah.
I would like everyone to notice, I think Offset did a great job, not only with the album and what he recorded, but the promo, the rollout, the effort. Like, I see effort in him, like, trying to make sure that people come to the table and check him out as a solo artist on this project.
I think, not for nothing, I think I'm more impressed with that than the actual product.
Got it.
Right? You know, I think the dedication, I think the creativity he put into it, you know, putting himself in different positions and situations, you know, the trailer with Jamie Lee Curtis and him reenacting that James Brown interview. Yeah. So like stuff like that makes me really appreciate the album even more, from the artwork, you know, just how he dressed, just how he's just, you know, presenting it. The music for me, one, I think the project is a little too long. It's what, 21?
Okay.
21
Well,
joints?
I think you and I don't know about Nadeska, I don't know if you've ever chimed in on that, but you and I are really critical of that. When somebody goes really beyond like 15, 16 records.
17 is
it's
pushing
like,
it.
okay.
It's like, all right.
Then when you get into the 20s, I think you're trying to make too many people happy.
Right.
Like, I feel like, okay, you gotta be careful when you get into the 20s.
Yeah, like you're venturing into like a very, very unsafe zone, because if you get to like 18, 19, 20, you probably already said whatever it is you're gonna say on those next three tracks.
Right.
If you give us 13, 14, especially him, there's a lot to be said within those 13, right? You can take us to the party, take us to the strip club, get your little, you know, collabs off with your wife, address, you know, the Migo, whatever that situation is, and then boom, we done. Give us a crazy, crazy collab. 14, you might have a classic.
It's interesting because the album itself, I don't even think the runtime is so long. It's maybe still about an hour. But yeah, the songs still, even though the songs are short, we just don't need that many. I always feel that way. Every time I open a new album, because we usually listen to multiple projects in a weekend, I was trying to listen to this and Westside Gunn. I'm like, there's a lot of songs on these albums combined.
Westside Gunn, yeah, he got a lot of them too.
But yo, Kitchen Lights might be one of my favorite songs of the year.
Really?
Could possibly be. It's a dope album. But sorry, back to Offset.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think it's an important moment for him. I feel like he's made a lot of headlines in the past couple years for his relationship, obviously things going on with Amigos and Takeoff. So I think it's an important moment for him. And that's probably why he's leaning in so hard, right? He's trying to establish this new Offset, you know?
Well, yeah, he's articulated bringing a lot of entertainment. I have a sit down that everybody's gonna get to see soon, where he's really leaning into entertainment value and showmanship, and talking about, you know, how he feels like cats ain't really putting on a show. You know, you're getting all these big bags to do festivals for a bunch of kids who's just jumping around no matter who's on stage. Right. And now, when we look around at these festival lineups, you know what I mean, the mainstream festival lineups, they're not booking rappers like that. You know, they're not giving you those bags to just not have a show. So he started getting into some of that. So we'll cover that when that combo comes. Other projects, Ken Carson, he got a movement out here. Shout out to him. Cali, I did not listen to your album. I missed it. I need to get into that album. It's just an EP, and I like Cali.
Jordan Glorilla is fire.
Cali's dope. Cali's real dope. Ice Spice and Rema, they were both on SNL. New single for the kiddies. Ice Spice has like two sounds. Like the Pink Pantheress kind of like young girl pop-y sound, and then she got kind of like that BX, like deli, shaking ass in the deli kind of drill sound. I appreciate it. And then Kid Cudi with a new single. It's been quiet for Cudi, I gotta be honest. Cudi is the guy for a lot of these artists. Like if you're really being honest, like the singing, rapping thing, the emo thing, the alti rock thing, that's Cudi. Cudi brought that in this era, right?
Yeah, a few years ago. No, when I was at MTV, I was speaking to Travis Scott. This was maybe before he'd even dropped the first albums, and he said his biggest dream at that point was to get Cudi on a record. So he definitely influenced a huge generation, and for me, like that was like my coming of age music. So I loved it. Those first couple albums, first 3 albums are really, really special to me. But the more recent stuff, it's just not hitting the same.
Now, is that as a fan of Cudi? Because
yes,
all artists that we love
have their valleys and peaks.
Yeah,
peaks and valleys, and we're on the journey with them.
Right.
And we get older, they get older. Are you just not in the same space you were? You said coming of age albums, like that first trilogy. You're not in that space now, right? You're older,
Exactly.
life is different.
Things have changed, but also he's aged with me. I just feel like maybe we're not growing on the same path. I don't know what it is. And mind you, he still has a strong fan base. I think he has a couple big shows in New York this week that I'm sure are gonna sell out. I hope I can get back into it. I want to have that connection again. But right now, yeah, it's just not really for me.
Drake wearing a Michael Jackson glove and holding a glass because this week it was announced that Drake has tied Michael Jackson for #1s. I want to go on record and say congratulations, Drake. I think that's amazing. I don't think anybody should scoff at that at all. But we know things are different.
Yeah.
Right?
Quality is different. Consumption is different.
Consumption was what I was going to focus on. Quality, I mean, you know.
And like, let me paraphrase this. Like, no, I like that you just said like we're not trying to scoff at this accolade because it's not easy to do. A lot of people aren't going to do it.
That's right.
But when I look at the quality of these records matched up together, that it just,
which records? Mike's ones,
ones and Drake's ones.
Listen, I want to be clear. Michael Jackson put out some records that were terrible. Okay, let's just be factual.
So it's Drake.
And that's all I want to say. So let's not act like Mike's.
I'm talking about the #1 records. I'm talking about the #1 records.
Mike has some #1s. If Scream was #1 or Black or White was #1, both of those suck.
And they weren't.
Okay, just making sure.
Okay.
You sure?
Yeah.
Should I try to look them up? You
Just
guys,
yeah,
you continue. Let me see if I could.
We gotta go through it.
Got you.
Like, so look, we'll
We
go.
ain't gonna, you know.
No, I know you're screaming Black and White was some bullshit.
It was bullshit, bro. It's bullshit, man.
The consumption of these records for Drake is at an easy entry point because stream, press play, add to your library, stream.
And versus Mike, where you had to go out to the store and to buy, and then you had to make more of an effort.
12-degree weather. I gotta go get bad.
I mean, but now you're leaning into scoff.
I'm not.
To scoff territory.
I'm not
now.
scoffing.
You're trying to. Minimize Drake's accomplishment by talking about weather and shit now, bro.
I'm talking about the process of getting these #1.
We understand it's a different time.
All right,
but also what's different? There are more options. So it's harder for an artist to maintain now.
Right.
There's more artists coming out.
Right.
There's more noise.
Right.
It's harder to promote.
Right.
It's harder to get people's attention.
Right.
It's harder to keep people's attention.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So what Drake has done, like you could throw in the weather was bad on a Tuesday when a Michael Jackson album came out and people stormed out in the snow and stood in line. We can talk about that. But also, Drake is doing it at a time where there's a lot more competition than Mike had.
But I don't have to leave my house if it's snowing. I can just press play and add it to my library.
But you still got to be stellar enough for people to do that.
No, Drake's maintained his stellarness for a long time. I will not sit here and scoff as if that man has not been consistent.
You leaning scoff.
No, I'm not leaning scoff. I don't know how to
All right, so here's the question. When we're talking about an artist like Cudi, someone I grew up with that I love, but I don't feel like listening to the new music anymore necessarily, he's not really getting my streams right now, and that might change. With Drake, even if you were disappointed in this album and the last album and the last album how many more albums are you going to stream from him? If he dropped another one next year, are you still going to stream?
Like jamming his character.
No, I think what's going to happen is I'm just going to outgrow.
Are you going to stream the album that he drops next year if he drops one?
I'm going to outgrow it because now.
Are you going to stream the album though?
Can I finish my?
You're not really answering.
If I'm at this point right now with Drake, right, and I feel the way I feel about For All the Dogs or whatever the case is.
You're right.
It literally seems like you said last week, you was like, yo, well, what do you want from him? Like, this is who he is. This is what we're gonna get.
And I understand your expectations.
So now I'm like, all right. So if I'm not getting it, and it doesn't even seem like a sniff of me getting it, why am I gonna waste my time doing this? Speaking consistently, like, oh, that ain't give me this, he ain't give me that. Like, all right, cool. Well, if he's not gonna do it, just leave him the fuck alone.
I mean, you're right, but I feel like you're still gonna stream the album though. So I just wonder,
I'm not, because
like
I'm
how strong is someone's like catalog and the legacy that even if you hate the last 3 projects, you're still probably gonna
I'm gonna fuck with the other shit, but like if I know you're not gonna give me what I really want and know you can do, I might as well just bow out.
I just want to go on record that this exchange and Nadeska's prowess on this program is celebrated often in the comments, where Blue Food 726 says, Nadeska is the literal queen of interview spin and I live for it. She can be as shady as a Brazilian jungle and she walks away with no blood on her hands. She is truly an icon.
What the fuck wrote that?
And that was on full display just now.
Poetry, thank you, sir.
Where also, I am D. Carrington says Nadeska slyly saying that she'd never have this problem as a J. Cole fan is hilarious.
That was really an accident, I promise. What about Fulcia saying Nadeska's really listening to a rap podcast in person? That is what it feels like working with you two sometimes. Don't know why I'm here.
I mean, that's why we're here.
Just to decorate the couch.
It is.
No, but listening to, not participating. I think is a joke.
I've had mad people tweet me, like text me.
But this ain't about you. This is about Nadeska, though.
If you let me get to my fucking point,
all right.
I'm just gonna bring it back to
I don't know why you're so vulgar.
No. I've had a lot of people say, like, they always see you sit right there and look at me and him, and they're like, yo, she always looks like, why am I here? Like, why? Like,
well, because she feels like that sometimes.
Some days, yeah.
But they love you.
Oh, really? I thought that was, no. I never know.
No, they love you.
Well, thank you. No, I'm happy to be here. I am. It's just that some days these two are so upset and passionate about topics, and I'm just like, not that pressed.
I ain't there.
I'm just not that pressed. And they're louder. They have more bass in their voice. So for me to like try to yell over them, it's really a lot some days. It's a lot. But I love you guys.
But not today.
No, not today.
As you just alligator soufflé low on his little Drake point real quick.
You see, and also when I ask a question or I'm being serious, they think I'm being sarcastic.
Wait, she cooked me?
Cook. You didn't even peep it.
Just now.
Just instigating all the time.
No.
But listen.
Like that.
Here's what they also had to say in the comments last week. Derry Loop thinks Ebro is chasing a Drake interview.
Let me tell you,
somebody said Ebro deserves
one thing that I do not think will ever happen is that. Bro.
Don't rule it out. I've learned the hard way sitting in situations like this. There's always a lot of yelling and fighting and beefing with artists, only for me to turn around and realize like, y'all made up with the artist and there's gonna be a 2-hour interview coming out.
Nah.
So I'm not falling into that trap.
Do you ever see yourself having an actual like a sit down with him like this?
Nah.
Do you care to?
No, not particularly.
If he asked,
I don't really have anything to ask him that I don't really have questions for him. I don't really feel like anything is unaddressed from Drake that he would actually give a direct response to.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying? Because there's not really, is there something we don't understand?
Everything's already unveiled. We already kind of see everything played out. Like,
I don't see it happening.
Okay, great. This is all a part of the rollout for the Ebro and Drake interview that we're probably gonna get 2024. It's cool. What else?
I like the one that says Ebro is begging for a Drake interview. Drake quote: "Drake is my dad and I love him." Ebro. People are funny.
Y'all were on fire last
But this
week.
is interesting. This is interesting since you guys were talking about Drake, and congratulations once again to Drake and reaching this milestone. Yeah. There's an interesting piece that from Kyrian B. Mm-hmm. I saw Lil Yachty tell Drake he was getting up there in age in an interview, and you could see it clearly disturbed him. He just should have named the album Midlife Crisis and would have been spot on.
There's a search for an identity happening in front of us. There's a search for, I don't know if it's like belonging, I don't know if it's placement, but like it's a bunch of confusion with this. Like there's a bunch of confusion on this album of like who he is, what he wants to be, where he wants to go, how he wants to be perceived. So that's how I'm looking at this album. So I'm like, what are you really trying to tell us?
See, I listened to the album multiple times and I like I told you, I like the album.
Yeah.
One of the things I think people are missing in the album and continue to miss is the album is called For All the Dogs, right? Mm-hmm. Literally, the album is a man fed up being the gentleman and being the nice guy. And is literally like, yo, you fucked up my vacation. You're an asshole. The girl complaining about eating the same food all the time.
Hilarious.
Like all of these different moments of him basically being like, I'm tired of trying to make y'all happy, right? And it's clear he's a bachelor and he's clearly fed up. right? I don't know if it's full-on midlife crisis. I think the people who are having a crisis are the individuals that think he's supposed to be where they are just because they're fans or just because they've moved into another chapter in their life and he hasn't. He's not having a midlife crisis. He's doing what he want to do with what he wants to do. So it seems. I'd be
doing the same thing if I was rich and famous and single.
I was. Minus the pins in my hair. But I was doing the same thing at 36 years old. If you have money in your pocket and you're a bachelor and you don't got no real obligations, I don't
want to keep regurgitating these thoughts or whatever the case is. No, I don't.
You don't have to because I have the #1 hits if we want to go through them.
Michael Jackson #1 hits.
Yep.
Here we go.
They just cut my shit off. That's crazy.
No, just because you said you don't want to keep regurgitating.
He's right though. He's right. We'll move on.
You know what I'm saying? Helped you out.
All right, from Michael, let's just do the top 5 and then we'll compare. So #1 is Ben, 1972. #2, Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. #3, Rock With You. 4 is Billie Jean. 5 is Beat It. Drake, #1, What's My Name with Rihanna. Work with Rihanna, to Riri's. 3, One Dance, that was a joint with Wizkid. 4 is God's Plan, and 5 is Nice for What.
Solid. Those are solid
those
#1s.
Solid #1s. They don't hold shit to Mike's, but those are solid.
Okay, Ben is. Ain't nobody bumping Ben like that, bro. Stop it. Stop it.
We can take it.
Stop it, bro. I mean, it was good. It was good. He was singing about his friend, the rat. His friend was the rat, and they had the movie and all that. Ain't nobody rocking Ben like that. Y'all can fucking be mad if you want. I already know.
Y'all full of shit.
Y'all full of shit. We are introducing you guys all to a new portion of the Rap Life Review. It's called The New. In Apple Music right now, there's a bunch of playlists you may not have actually gone to check out. The New. There's The New Japan. There's The New UK. There's The New New York. There's The New Atlanta. There's The New South. There's The New Northwest. There's The New Cali. There's the
New Africa.
There's a New Africa. I think it's the New West Coast, not New Cali. But there's a lot of New Australia.
Right.
A lot of new. We will start with Nadeska. What new song or new artist?
All right, it's not a new artist, but it is a new-ish song. So this one is from Sleepy Hollow. So if you guys don't know him, he's part of Chef G's crew, Winner's Circle.
Brooklyn.
Yep. Hasn't been dropping a ton of music recently. Has some other things going on. But he put out an album a couple weeks ago called Boy Meets World. And there's a joint on there called Anxiety that I really, really, really love. I be dealing with some anxiety sometimes, you guys. Maybe you too. But overall, it's just a good song. It's great production. He's like opening up. Not exactly the kind of song that you would expect from him, but the whole album is pretty dope. You guys should check that out.
I like it. Lo, what you got?
This young man from Harlem, East Harlem. His name is Just Smith. He just dropped a new single called Where You From. It's produced by my boy Flick Beats.
These are people you know.
Yeah, I know, but like
These are your friends?
No, he's someone I know.
This segment is not about this.
It's just like a new artist that I'm fucking with.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought maybe this was like an inside job. Maybe it's like an industry plan or something. You know what I'm saying? Gotta watch. Gotta keep an eye on you.
Just Smith, Where You From? Streaming on Apple Music. Go ahead.
I was gonna I just wanted to big up the girl Scarlett from the BX. Cause she had the one record that was mostly a New York record. Yeah. Get out of New York and all that, get out of his shit. And it's always tough to follow up when you have a moment like that, especially when you're a new artist.
That moment was big.
It was big out here in the city. But she got a record I really like called No Statements that people should go check out. Plus, her story's crazy, and she's watching a young person overcome, what she went through and the trauma that she went through. I think it's very interesting. And Scarlett. And that's The New. For Nadeska and Lo, I'm Ebro. Make sure you add the playlist. It's called Rap Life, and thank you for subscribing and watching. See you next time.
What's up? Nadeska here, and if you enjoyed this episode of the Rap Life Review, you can catch me here every week with Lowkey and Ebro. Subscribe, hit the like button, make sure you never miss an episode, and of course, drop us a comment below, and we'll see you next time on the Rap Life Review.